We are live.
Yeah. Uh, Hello, everyone. Good evening to all our members in India, and very good morning to all those watching us in the US. So, today we are back after a short break uh, with Sam Sir. But today, Sam Sir will be joining us a little later. So, just before we start our topic for today, which will be on entrepreneurship, we just want to have your feedback about this show. What would you like to have? Uh, what topics would you like us to cover? If you're okay with the format, if you need more interactions, so we'll just before Sir joins us, we'll just skim through some of the questions or feedback from all of you who have been our continuous listeners and interactors throughout all these, like the last year I think we have started this. So let's begin with the first question, which would be like, what would what is the which is the broad category that interests you most? uh, so would you like us to cover like with the AI or the emerging tech, or the social and ethical issues, um, development and policy, youth and education, or all of the above? So if you have any suggestions, please you can just type it in your comments, and we'll take it live. We'll take your questions live or your interactions live. Okay, so I've been told that people are joining still, so I'll just be a little slower with this. So Sir will be joining, as I said, Sir will be joining a few minutes later. He's busy with some other conference. Okay, so Mohit Pratap Singh is saying he would like us to cover more about social and ethical issues. Um, any other suggestion? Like, why do you think, Mohit, you want this topic? Are you interested in like the political issues in India, or are you interested in the the global topics? What's currently going on in the US, or what's happening in India? Um, okay, so Kiran Kumar is saying he wants to cover us all the uh, about topics. Of course, we'll try our best. We have currently we are covering mostly about technology. So today's topic is on entrepreneurship, but we are sure we'll have more about the development policy. But we'd also like to have interaction from you guys, like we want input from your side as well, because Sir is very keen to have it like a two-way conversation, than rather than just a one-sided conversation. um, okay, Mohit, so you saying you want like India centric issues primarily. Of course, India is currently like undergoing like upheaval in political scene, and uh, just recently we had unfortunate, like tragic attack in Pahalgam. So our tributes and to those who have lost their lives. It's very unfortunate. So yes, we'll be covering with the current topics as well. So Rahul is saying we want planned sustainable economy. Of course, Sir is very keen about talking about sustainable issues, and I think we covered it last few weeks ago, where Sir mentioned about his experience when he was a chief advisor with our ex Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi ji. So of course, that's on our mind, and we'll take it forward from here. So thank you, Rahul. So let's move on to the other next slide, please. So how would you rate the relevance of the topics to your personal or professional life? So basically, our interest is like, whatever discussions we are having in this on this show, is it like relevant to what you're facing? Like, is it some of your own experiences? Like, you can share with us your own experiences, like how the current policies across the world, if you are in the US or in India, whether the topics are relevant to you, whether you have experienced something, like if we discuss about the social gap in India, whether you are one of those victims, you can, so topics like that, you can share with us your experience. So Kiran Kumar, thank you. So you are saying you're particularly interested in education technology, specifically affordable, interactive, immersive, and educational contents. Of course, this is a very important point, and thank you very much, Kiran. Uh, this will surely inculcate this in our next episode, and this is a very good point. So yeah, Rahul, of course, we everyone wants peace, and I think that's the core issue right now that the world is facing. So thank you for that comment. But yes, so so this needs to be a two-way conversation, of course, because the topics which we discuss should be relevant to you. If it's not relevant, then it's just like a waste of time. So thanks for your feedback. So Alexandra Rosila is saying she wants. Okay, so they are extremely relevant. Thank you so much for your feedback. Uh, so then I will just move on to the next slide, which is, uh, sorry. So the next slide is like, would you be interested in a short question and answer session, or would you prefer an open mic uh, during each of your sessions? So if it's, would you like to be interested like a part of this show? Please let us know. We have like a few slots. We can share relevant links if you are really interested in sharing the open mic with us. That's absolutely no problem. So I would prefer to have a two-way interaction. He wants to more people to hear, because it's all about you. It's not about like just one person. So Mahadevan is saying, okay, so it's most relevant to him. So thank you, Mahadevan, for your feedback. It's extremely important for us to know what you feel about this show. Um, yeah, so can we move on to the next slide, please? Yeah, so okay, so I'll just take on few comments. So Nagender is saying youth and education play a very crucial role in Indian context. Social media, particularly WhatsApp, university, are spreading misinformation among the younger generation. To free the youth from falsehood, it is essential to actively present and promote the truth. Absolutely. So WhatsApp IT cell is just creating a nuisance, because I have been myself. It's just like I have been the victim of this, because my I have a few friends who are pro right, and it's and the misinformation they're spreading on social media, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, it's very difficult to counter, especially when you don't have the media houses supporting you, when they are also adding fuel to the fire. So I think the WhatsApp has to be tackled, but unfortunately in right now in India, it's very it's difficult, because it's all everyone is has their own share of it in promoting the hate. We have the uh, paid media, as you say. So it is important to curtail, and there should be some strict actions or some punishments, but it's, I think we have to wait for that for at least few more years for everything to get normal. And hopefully, I wish that it is sooner, not later. So thank you, Nagender, for your comment. So J Tamil Selvan is saying focused agenda may be better. Of course, uh, Tamil Selvanji, we will try to cover the topic which is relevant to the current issues, whether global or whether like back home. So thank you for that comment. It's just sir wants to like, the first few episodes we have concentrated on like entrepreneurship, technology, because sir has a lot of experience in this field, and so he would like to share with every one of you what he has gone through, and what he has been experience for his past, because he has a enrichment, like he has an enriched career, as you can see. Like he was a personal advisor, he is a founder of the telecom revolution, and he has written books, so he has a vast experience. And like every one of you, even we in his team would like to hear more about it. So thank you, Tamil Selvanji, for your input, and we'll try to be have a focused agenda in the future. But feel free to give your feedback, because that is why we are here. We want it a two-way conversation. Um, so anyone else wants to have like a your feedback about this? What would you like, an open mic or a short question and answers? Which format would you prefer um, for the current, like for the next few episodes? We are open to your suggestions. Okay, so should I move on to the next slide? Yeah, thank you. So the next slide is, would you like to see our guest speakers join, sir, like in future sessions? Anyone, would you like guest speakers on like a two-way discussions, or is just you want sir to speak? This is just like for our scheduling of the next uh, interactions. So we had Dr. Iyengar in the past, and we had uh, Gandhians, many of the veterans join our show. If you have followed this platform, we had like discussions about the Gandhian philosophy. Sir had experience. Uh, Sir has experience like in even at the Sabarmati ashram, and at Wardha, where there is a Gandhi ashram, where Congress actually party actually conducts programs about the Gandhian philosophy, how Gandhiji led his life. So you get to experience that. So we have a past guest where we had these interactions, um, and uh, in the few coming episodes, we'll try to invite more guests. If you had followed the few sessions, earlier sessions, we had the people from Amul, their growth story, how Mr. Kurian did the social entrepreneurship, the whole episode we had. So, of course, so now again, Narendra is saying we would like to have like open short questions. Of course, yes. And if you would like, to come on the show, please let us know earlier, so that, if you just DM us, even on LinkedIn or Facebook, whichever platform, we can send you the link and you can be on the show. And then you can have like, you ask questions to Sir directly. Okay. And so I'll just tell you the address where you can, there's a website, EA at, oh, sir is there. Hello, sir.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Sorry I'm late,
No, that's
but
fine. We are
thank
just
you
like
for.
going through feedback from,
Oh, that's great. We need it.
yeah,
I need it.
yeah,
And thank you for helping us
yeah.
out on this.
Yeah, so that's what I was mentioning.
Please go ahead.
No, to our listeners, that if you would like to, have join us on the show, please, like, let us know. We can share the link for that current topic, and you can pose questions and like a two-way interaction. Most of them have suggested it needs to be a question answer session rather than one way.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah, and they would also prefer like guests to be invited, like we had in the past.
No problem.
Yeah. So over to you, sir. Like you can.
There are a few more
Um,
questions, Premada. Let's
oh
finish
yeah.
this.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Uh, so the next slide is about like which topics would you like us to cover in the next like few weeks. Okay. So Mahadevan is saying, okay, waiting for Sam sir to talk now. So I think, yeah, I think everyone was waiting for you, sir,
Thank
to
you. Is
speak.
there another slide or this is the last?
I think, yeah, there's the
Uh,
last one, is it? There are two. Yeah. So this one is asking, like,
Good question.
like
Very
what?
good question.
Yeah.
Very good question.
What format do you enjoy the most of these sessions? So I think in our previous, like, few of them have said that it should be like a two-way discussion, like a question answer session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
Uh,
ask me personally, I don't prefer A and C.
yeah.
I prefer B and D. Okay.
Okay.
Personally. Okay.
Yeah.
Solo comment is boring.
Hmm.
Panel discussion is unnecessary controversy because everybody wants to prove their point.
Yeah.
Fireside chat with a guest is good, sober,
Hmm.
and open question answer town hall is very similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah. So
I
yeah.
also
So
prefer a lot of interaction.
yeah, I think the question answer style, we it's preferred by everyone because
Okay.
uh, it's like a two-way interaction, and then there's sharing
Sure.
of knowledge. Yeah.
Sure.
So skill trainer is asking Sam. So please tell us more about your life in Orissa.
Okay. First of all, thank you, Priyamvada, and thank you, Upendra. Um, because of you all, I've been able to continue with this program. You make it happen. I just show up at the last minute. Unfortunately, today I had a session on higher education with some young people in India as part of the Gandhi Ashram program. So I got busy with them. My apology for being late. And I basically spoke about the report of the National Knowledge Commission. This report was prepared during Dr. Manmohan Singh's time by 11 experts who spent 3 years, worked on 27 subjects, provided 300 recommendations with the help of 2,000 domain experts. It is a very rich report which talks about access to knowledge, knowledge concepts, knowledge creation, knowledge applications, and knowledge in governance. This report created National Knowledge Network, national portals, and many other interesting ideas and institutions. Then we had 370 universities, and report talked about 1,100 universities. Today we have more than 1,100 universities. Unfortunately, people don't know about this report. People don't read these kinds of reports. And everyone has opinion on higher education. So I spoke today just to bring attention to this report. Unfortunately, after 2014, government took a different direction on education. Government closed National Innovation Council, which was an offshoot of National Knowledge Commission. And the emphasis on innovation changed completely. So I spoke about that. One of the topics in that report is also about entrepreneurship. And Upendra and Premvada thought I should talk a little bit about entrepreneurship today, and then we can open up for a series of conversations on entrepreneurship. Because entrepreneurship is a very complex field. Everybody knows about entrepreneurship once you succeed, and they'll tell you what you did right to succeed. But nobody will tell you what you should do to make sure that you succeed. They'll give you advice, but they won't guarantee success. So in India, you have Chaiwala, who is an entrepreneur. The guy who sells sabji is an entrepreneur. Haldiram is an entrepreneur. Dhirubhai Ambani was an entrepreneur. And the list goes on and on. You have multi-billion dollar enterprise, and you have an enterprise like a pawn shop in the corner, which serves the community, becomes a place for people to meet, entertain, talk, interact. And he's also an entrepreneur. He's happy doing whatever he does, making pan and selling some routine stuff. So entrepreneurship varies in style, shape, size. Today, when we talk about entrepreneurship, we assume it is a high-tech enterprise. Doesn't have to be. It could be a very simple need like food, clothing, shelter, service, health. And it could be an enterprise with 2 people, 5 people. Doesn't have to have 500,000. It doesn't have to be global. So entrepreneurship is all about freedom, flexibility, risk, reward. A lot of people can't expand because they don't have access to capital. If you have the kind of access you have in Silicon Valley to capital, entrepreneurship in India would be very different. We don't really have access to venture capital. Of course, it is changing. American and Indians with experience in venture capital are in India, but that risk capital compared to the size of the country is very little. So there are many dimensions to entrepreneurship. One is human dimension. Who becomes entrepreneur? Why do you become entrepreneur? Second is really the product and the market, because at the end of the day, you have to make something that people want, and you have to make it at a price less than what people will pay. Then there is profit. If there is profit, there is success, and you can sustain. So whenever I talk to entrepreneurs, I said, look, it's very simple. What's your business model? What are you selling? Why would anybody buy? And why would they pay more than what you have spent to make it? It's that simple. If you can answer that question, you have a good start. Then there are issues of human resource development, technology, innovations, intellectual property, funding, quality, you name it. There are hundreds and hundreds of issues. The other day, when I was in Boston with Rahul, we went to visit um, a very interesting company in robotics. And we spent a couple of hours there seeing their robots and experimenting with it and learning a little more and all. And they have invested $1 billion in it. They were all gung ho. But then we asked them a question saying, what would happen if there is 150% tariff on Chinese products? Because you get all your parts from China. You get your drive, you get your electronics, you get your mechanical stuff from China. They said, we'll go out of business. So entrepreneurship is also about risk. It has huge implications on policy issues, and policy issues have huge implications on entrepreneurship. So we can talk at length, and we can also talk about my own experiences, because I built a lot of little companies in America. It never interested me to build a big company because I thought big companies require different mindset. I wanted only startups, and when they did well, I sold it off to somebody or got out of it. Just to give an idea, I built the first company called Westcom in 1974. Sold it in 79 with two of my partners for $50 million cash. That was my first venture ever in my life as an entrepreneur. Beside, while I was a student, I was an entrepreneur because in India I used to teach tuition. to earn enough money to pay for my own fees and education of my younger brother and sisters and everyone. That was an entrepreneurship. I made lots of money teaching physics and math to first year and second year students. Then I started a company in Milwaukee called MTI with two scientists on thick film hybrid that I sold part to William Blair and then sold the whole thing. Then I started a company in home security systems in 1981, way before people knew about home security. And then I had some failures as well. I started a company in printed circuit board. I started a company in MRP, the first real MRP software for microprocessor-based system was started by me in US in 1981. That was sold also. Then I went to India and started social entrepreneurship. Working with government was about public sector entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, CDOT, CDAC, TIFAC, all were social entrepreneurship, but high tech. Then I came back again to America and started WorldTel in London as a bank to fund telecom in emerging markets. And then finally, I started a company called CSAM for a mobile wallet that I sold to MasterCard. Thereafter, I started 3, 4, and they were all failures, partly because of COVID, partly because of partners, partly because of my lack of interest. So there are a lot of lessons to learn about success, failure, partners, who to trust, who not to trust, who will cheat you, who will not cheat you, and the price you pay for blind trust. But it's a journey. Entrepreneurship is a journey. It never ends. It requires tenacity. It requires perseverance. And it requires big heart, because ups and downs are very common as an entrepreneur. If you can't take the shocks, don't do it. With this, I can open up for conversation. And then, if you all want, later on, next week or week after or whenever, we can talk more about entrepreneurship. Okay? Is that all right, Priyamvada, Upendra?
Yep, thank you. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Thank you.
So, so the first question from social media, like on YouTube, is wanted to ask, share your experience of your life in Orissa. Could you uh, tell us
Okay, I
something?
can do that. Thank you very much. I had a wonderful life in Orissa. My childhood was very rich in experiences. I had great parents who raised 8 children, uh, 5 daughters and 3 sons. I was number 3. It was not a rich family, but it was a family that could feed and live in a modest place, cook with regular wood burning, sleep on floor. And I also had a very rich neighborhood, Muslim in front, Sikh on the right, Jain on the left, and in the back, Oriya tribal. People were loving, caring, because those were the days of independence fervor. Orissa was rich with forest, mountains. The village had 2 ponds, big temple, but no real good schools. So we did a lot of learning at home. Teachers would come. And then at the age of 9, when I was 9, my parents decided to send me to Gujarat with my brother to study properly. But the life in Orissa was very rich. You learn so much from people and environment. You go to a market on Saturday to buy some vegetables, and you see fish market. So I didn't eat fish in those days, but as kids we'll be curious and go visit fish market because it was available to see. Uh, we have seen, you know, dog fights. We have seen um, chicken fights, bull fights. Little, and the village was very small. In those days, it was 5,000, 3,000 people. There was Rath Yatra in the village. There were very few shops, but the life was very different. If I had stayed in that environment, I wouldn't have grown. So when I look at migrating to Gujarat and from Gujarat migrating it to America, I realize that the history of human civilization is basically a history of migration. Everybody came from somewhere. Ultimately, everybody came from Africa. People move. People go to England and people go to Russia and people go to, I was talking to somebody yesterday. He has been in Russia for 31 years, Indian fellow, married a Russian girl, has Russian kids, speaks fluent Russian. Indian from UP. Okay. So I think going out is part of an experience that makes you who you are. So Orissa gave me the foundation, the base. And then things changed as I moved on. Okay. And it happens in everybody's life. I was too young to understand entrepreneurship when I left Orissa. But I appreciate Orissa now. Think about my childhood at this age. And I'm thankful to Orissa to add foundation and flavor to my life. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So next question is from Tejinder. He's asking, can you compare entrepreneurship in India and the US based on your experience? Thank you.
Yes, I can. The fundamental difference is entrepreneurs in America have access to risk capital. Entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs in India do not have access to risk capital. If you look at all the banking sector, they will give money to rich people. They will not give money to a poor guy. Farmers will have very difficult time getting loans. If you are well established, westernized, you can get 5,000 crore loan without much of security. And you have seen it, you know the stories. So that's one fundamental difference. I think Indians are better entrepreneurs than Westerners. Maybe I'm biased because the environment is very hostile. So to survive in India requires multidisciplinary approach. To survive here is little easier because the comfort is taken care of. Electricity is there, water is there, phones work, transportation is assured. All those basic necessities of life are working today here. In India, you don't know when your electricity will go. You don't know what kind of water you will get. If somebody got hurt, you don't know whether your employee will be able to get medical help on time. So that's why it becomes very difficult. So one is risk capital, two is institutions and infrastructure doesn't exist at the level we want for entrepreneurship to flourish. And third is basically all the government procedures and laws. You know, I must tell you that in this country, I have started over 20 companies, 20 of all kinds, you know, including one for, playing cards. And in the process, I never, ever have visited any government office. I don't know what government office looks like in America. My lawyers fills in some forms, I sign it, and it's done. I sign documents for patent filing, for trademarks. In India, if you're on the board, you have to sign so many documents. Last 2 weeks we have been going through with the help of Rakesh. We had to get some documents signed. Then, because I'm on the board of National Herald and on the I'm a chancellor of a university, then we have to get the document notarized. Then we have to get apostated, which is from the state government. And then finally, we have to go to Indian consulate office. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So why would anybody want to be an entrepreneur? I had told you many weeks ago that I designed new deck of cards called Compu cards. And these are the cards that I had designed. Okay, this is software programmer as the king. Okay, this is plus card, minus card. This is computer as a queen. Then there is the software bug as the joker. There are 64 cards to a deck. And when I did this, I had to file copyright. This was about 45 years ago. So I signed some document and it was done. I can't do that in India with the simplicity I can do here. So I think all our rules and regulations are too complicated for entrepreneur to be comfortable. Okay. But that's the answer. Risk capital, environment ecosystem, infrastructure, and government rules and regulations are the problems.
So just continuing with the government rules and regulations in India, which are a hurdle for many youngsters to do any startup or do their own solo entrepreneurship ventures. So what do you think, sir, is required in the age of technology, like where everything is
Simplify
automated?
law. You should be able to set up a company on internet with no more than one form if it is below certain level. You should be able to open a bank account quickly without any hassle. And you should be able to close a company quickly. In India, it takes forever to close a company. So starting a company should be easy, closing a company should be easy, and opening a bank account should be easy. And leave this entrepreneur alone. Don't ask him to fill this form and that form and all that stuff. Poor guy doesn't have the capability to fill in your forms. He doesn't want to spend time on it. Let him grow. Okay, say up to 10 crore or whatever it is, you don't need anything. Just register, start your business, make money, employ people. Okay. I'm sure a lot of people might, benefit. And in the process, some people might misuse also. That's okay. That's part of the package. But just because 5% of the people misuse, don't penalize 95% of the people.
Absolutely, sir. So somewhere this red tapeism and paperwork and government hassle is creating
Too
like
much.
a block in this the
Personally, I
growth.
would not start a business in India. Personally.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's too much hassle. They can trap you on anything. They can say, oh, by the way, you didn't pay this and you didn't sign it properly. And if you don't sign it properly, that is illegal. And immediately say money laundering. Khatam.
Mm. Yeah. Of course, sir. So, you are a role model to many. I'm sure. Like we all know that. But who is your role model when you in entrepreneurship? Like, what motivated you? Like, who motivates you? Who was your role model?
I think my father did, in a sense, because he worked so hard to feed 8 children. And he was an entrepreneur, basically. He was small time fellow in small village. And I realized the kind of effort he put in to raise family. So hard work became a normal thing to do. Your father did that day in, day out. Your father was gone in forest for 3 months at a time, and lived on rice and potatoes. Okay. And there was no transportation then, so he would go on a bicycle. So as little kids, we will wait for him to come home. On a long road, we'll see some at night bicycle coming, and we would say, "Oh, that's our father." Okay. So he was an inspiration. I didn't know enough about all the big entrepreneurs then, because there was no TV, there was no internet, you have no access to anything. But more important is, my role model was really Gandhi in terms of lifestyle. I really was so hammered by his simplicity, his courage, his conviction, his experiment with truth, trust, and ultimately realized that he is the one who gave us independence, or helped us get independence. And the whole group around him, whether it is Nehru, Patel, Maulana Azad, Sardar, Sarojini Naidu, or many others, Subhash Chandra Bose, you can go on and on. You know, they were all great people, and they did something for all of us. Okay. When I came here, I had a dream that I want to do something of my own. But I worked for 10 years to acquire the skills in digital communication for a big company. And after 10 years, in 1974, when I was 32 years old, or 33 years old, I said, it's time to do this. But I didn't have courage. So my father was visiting here in America in those days. And he said, why do you work for somebody? Why don't you do something of your own? I said, Dad, it's not easy. How do I get money? Digital technology is a very complicated thing. And he didn't understand any of that. He said, just quit, and then you'll figure out what to do. And I couldn't quit because I had a whole family to feed. I was the only member in the family earning in those days. And my salary was, I think, about $18,000. Okay. But then an opportunity came where two um, people who had a business wanted to go into digital switching, Mr. Clint Penny and Mr. Alan Brown. And their technology man, Mike Burke, who ultimately became founder of the Dell Lab, Mike and I connected, had a dinner at a restaurant. And Mike said, would you like to do this? I said, yes, I would love to do it. And my salary went up from 18,000 to 27,000 a year. And that was unthinkable in those days. And within 2 years, it became 100,000 a year. Okay. And within 3 years after that, it became 500,000 a year. In those days. Okay. So it just worked. It could have gone the other way around. I could have been fired also. So life is a chance, risk, accident, and keep at it. I had dance like you cannot imagine. I had time in my life where I had to almost sell my home to fund business. Okay. I had time in my life when I had no more than $5,000 to live. But you rise, you try to build cushion, but it doesn't work all the time. So it depends. And everyone has different experience, and everyone's experience is worth uh, some learning. Yeah.
Absolutely, sir. There's so much to learn from you. Mahadevan has a comment about regarding the previous topic when we said, so he's saying that there is a lot of political interventions in India and business, especially, they left organizations and criminal economy is working in India. So
Yep.
that's his comment on.
I agree with Mahadevan. He knows about this. Um, See, the problem is really the character of the people in business. If you can trust somebody, you have a great journey. All my failures in life, in business, I'm talking about business life, unfortunately, and maybe I'm biased, had to do with my partners. Okay. One, their expectations are not aligned with their energy. Two, they quickly become jealous and they see you in multiple areas and they sort of undercut your interest. And when you start, your interests are aligned. When you are struggling, your interests are aligned. But when you are successful, your interests change. They want bigger and bigger piece of the pie. They cheat. They lie. They cut corners. Okay, not all of them. I'm sorry, I don't mean that. But that's when business suffers. Okay. And there are all kinds of interesting personal experiences I can talk about someday. You know,
Of course. So actually, these vices you need to, control, and you have to get over those hurdles for to become successful. So, what message do you have for the young people who want to start solo and who have fear and doubt? What's your
have confidence in yourself. You will succeed. You are a good person. You will not take advantage of others. If you give, it'll come to you. It'll come in big buckets. Keep at it. There's a very fine line between success and failure. It is just the other side. So when you say success, what is successful today could be a failure tomorrow, instantly. You've seen with big companies, whether it is GE or General Motors or what. Okay. I mean, my generation, IBM was the big blue. No one ever thought that there'll be a company like Apple, Google, Facebook. Okay. Didn't even occur to anyone. Saying, how could you compete with IBM? There's no way. Okay. And look at what has happened. I mean, General Motors, there was saying in our time that the way General Motor goes is very similar to where America goes. Yeah. So things change, and you got to go with the change. Okay.
Absolutely. So change is the permanent thing. So can't escape that. So there are two more questions before we end the session. One is from Anurag. He's asking, how do we implement entrepreneurship among villagers where there is no skill training and no markets? I think this is an important question.
Well, if there is no market, you can't start a business. You got to create a market. Somebody has to buy what you're selling. It could be milk, it could be soda, it could be fruits, it could be vegetables, it could be dirt. But somebody would say, look, or somebody has to say, I'm going to buy what you have, and I'm willing to pay you more than what you put in to make it. So you have a little profit. So If you can't identify that, you don't have a business. You know, everybody's looking for that magic. Okay, I'll give you one example. You know, in 65, one big Marwari businessman had come to Chicago, and he was also looking for his daughter's marriage. So he was going to interview some Marwari kids on campus. Uh, and I had car then, so I took him around and drop him at the hotel and all that. So he liked me because I was just available on campus. So then one fine day he said, Sam, what I'm looking for is a simple product that I can make for a very low price and sell a lot of it in India at high prices. I said, look, everybody wants that. And if I had one, why would I give it to you? That's the magic. Okay? Everybody wants that magic, but it doesn't exist like that. You can't say, okay, give me something I can make for very little money and I can sell for a lot of money and everybody would buy it. Great idea. Okay. So it is a search. You have to go through that search. What will sell? Why would it sell? At what price will it sell? And that's the entrepreneurial journey. Okay. If you bet on wrong stuff, it will fail. If you bet on right stuff, chances of success will increase.
Thank you, sir. There's like couple of more questions.
Please.
So Namita is asking, in a country like India, where we have like 60% of the population with living on the Prime Minister's food security scheme for the poor, how is it could be solved by the entrepreneurship? So
Well, we'll have to grow better food. We'll have to improve nutrition because there is a market for nutrition. There is a market for cheaper food. There is a market for cheaper home. There's a market for basic human needs. Okay. I mean, people can start building check dams to store water, and farmers will pay. Okay. You can start cleaning your ponds and charge people for cleaner area of the pond. You got to take risk and you got to work. Okay. For 25 years, I have been talking about designing a two-wheeler ambulance because I had an incident in 1988 or 89 where one of my relatives had a heart attack in my house. I was then chairman of Telecom Commission. I got a call from my wife, went home, and you know he was almost dead. So we put him in an ambulance, and with the chairman of the MTNL, my colleague, we took him to hospital. But it took us 45 minutes to go to hospital. Okay. And by the time we got to hospital, he was dead. It was too late. Okay. And I said, why wouldn't anybody design a two-wheeler ambulance? Because then you can work around. A big ambulance in India just gets stuck. Nobody does that. Okay. There is an opportunity, but there's a risk also because it will sell only in some big cities. That's okay. Why don't we design better cleaning equipment for house cleaning and all? You look at all the tools you get here. I mean, somebody can take all these tools and copy it there. So there are lots of opportunities, and you can see Chinese have done a superb job at that. You got to compliment them. Even furniture, the way they design and the way they have, captured the market on household items and utensils and simple stuff, uh, it's crazy. One day by mistake, I just got onto Temu,
Hmm.
you know. And let me tell you a very interesting story. I just started looking and I saw some watch for $5, $3, $7. And I couldn't believe it. This was almost a couple of years ago. I couldn't believe it. I said, how can it be done? So I ordered 75 watches
Hmm. Hmm.
of all different types. I said, let me just check, a few $100. So I got the box and I was shocked that it is real.
Hmm.
I opened, I checked all 75. All 75 worked. Not a broken piece, nothing. Okay. I kept the time to make sure that time also works and all 75 time works perfectly. Okay. I still don't know how they make it.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. So I ordered another 50. Okay. I thought maybe the first batch would be same thing. So I have, 100 watches. Whenever somebody comes, I just say, okay, take whatever you want to take out of it. So the other day I had a guy who um, helps Anu in fixing bulbs and all that at home. Jeff had come and we were having tea. I said, Jeff, um, what are you going to do today? So he said, it's my wife's birthday. I said, okay, let me give you some watches. Just take three for her. And he was shocked. He said, what is this? I said, just take it. You know, but the beauty is they can do it. They make it, and somebody must be making money at it. They know how to do it. And that's what you need in an entrepreneur. You know, and it comes over a period of time. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, it requires ancillary industry to provide parts. If you want to make that watch, you got to have somebody providing belt, somebody providing, little small parts, somebody putting it together, somebody need to provide a glass. Okay. All of these things have to come together. And it takes time.
Absolutely, sir. China has cracked the code, like how to, capture the market. So there is a question from Sunil Arora ji. I think he knows you. He knows you personally. He's
He used
saying.
to be, let me tell you, Sunil used to be one of my secretaries. I had 4 or 5 secretaries at Telecom Commission. And in those days, we were so busy. We were all young. Sunil was also young. Sunil will get in the car with me and take dictation at 100 words a minute.
Okay.
Okay. So, Sunil, good to see you.
Yes, sir. So he's asking. His question is, what can you see in the future, for changing technologies, and that what would it bring to human being, say in the next decade?
Sunil, communication technology has changed everything. And you and I worked on this 45 years ago or 40 years ago. We have come a long way in communication. Now I think AI is going to change everything. Everything is going to be upside down. The way we do things, the way we see things, the way we make things, okay, and the way we value things. Just before this talk, I was giving a talk on education, and I said, look, if AI can give me facts, I don't need to go to college to learn facts. I don't need teacher to come and give me a lecture on blackboard with duster. Because whatever teacher is trying to do, I can just go to AI and get it solved. What do I do with the answer? Is going to be the next big challenge. Getting an answer is not a challenge anymore because AI will give me the answer. But once I have an answer, what do I do? AI will also tell me that, but to a point. After that, I need to take charge. So AI will change lifestyle. But fundamental things will not change, and that is human nature, character, hopefully, requirement for food, shelter, air, water, okay, energy, information, health. These things are going to remain because that's what life is. Life can be defined based on basic needs. If I eat, I have life. If I sleep, if I'm well, if I have a home, if I can breathe. So technology will be used to clean the environment, to provide me more comfort. And future is going to be definitely better than present, guaranteed. And we have seen it. I've seen the past, 80 years ago what life was and what life is today. You know, I've traveled in bullock carts. I've traveled on camel because there was no bus, there was no transport. And today there are planes there. Okay. So things have changed and things will continue to change, provided we can live in peace and not kill each other with nuclear bombs. So I see a very bright future. Okay.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you. And I think Anurag, sir, has answered your question about AI. He asked the same thing, like AI for village entrepreneurship. So I think sir has addressed your question. Thank you for joining in. Um, so I will just conclude today's session. Thank you, sir, again for another enriching session, for deep diving us into the whole entrepreneurship era and your experience and your challenges. And it's always a pleasure to hear from you. You have headed so many national missions and global projects in the US as well. So it's always a pleasure to have such an enriching interaction. So thank you very much, and
Thank you, Premvada, and thank you,
we just
Upendra. Upendra, anything you want to add?
No, I think you pretty much covered it, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. So next week you tell me what you want to do and we'll do it. Okay.
yeah.
Absolutely.